let's just get going here. So the topic for this live podcast, I guess, is what I call books for men. If you're in the online sphere long enough, you're gonna see like talk about, oh, books for men. There are no more books for men, and you know what? There is some truth to that, and you can talk about it all you want and all that, but honestly, the commentaries you can there's enough ink spilled, enough people talking about it. Me, I want to take a different tack, and this tack is like, what are there books for men? Now, to be honest, this is just me. It's my last week here in America before I fly back to Indonesia. And one of the great things you can do in America is so easy to get books, buy books in Amazon. Like in Indonesia, I guess you can use Amazon, but like it's so expensive. But let's just get going. If you see earlier, there's this book. This is Kobe Bryant, The Mamba Mentality. So first of all, rest in peace, Kobe. Like I'll be honest, when I was growing up, I wasn't actually a fan of Kobe. Like I was more of a Shaq guy. I always thought Kobe was kind of an asshole, like a jerk, but that's neither here or now. So why do I consider this a book for men? I mean, well, first of all, look at this. There's a man over there. Okay, so if you're really interested in, there's like sports and basketball. There's a lot of in-depth talk about sports. Like this time, I don't want to show the photos because they're the live thing is a lot of blurs and stuff like that. So this is the kind of, but just gonna open up a little bit, like that. If this is the kind of book, if you get it, you really wanna, what's the term? You want to get it physically. If you like buy it on Kindle, it seems like you're gonna be missing out. So it's like this is what is a Mamba mentality? What you might ask. It's like you never give up. It's like it's you will something to get what you want, and I don't want to be philosophical here. So, but there's just your will, like your perception, and then what is in reality. So, what is will? Well, the way I would put it is that will is like you're able to impose your perception, impose what you want to see onto the real world. And Kobe does a lot of that. You like so if you, it's not kind of a, I guess it's kind of a self help thing. But if you want to, again, a book for men. It's not the kind of thing women would want to read because women don't really like sports. But whatever. Okay, so that's one book. So again, there's a lot more book, but I guess here's a bit of what you call self promotion. This is my latest book. It's the Santara Commentaries. So this is a fantasy book. It's kind of short, right? It's like 150 page. This is the, let's see, no, it's more like 130 pages because like that's taking into account the ancillary. It's so it's about a story of a fight for freedom. So this is my book, right? So I should know what I'm talking about here. So this is the story is about fantasy Indonesia. So there's a fight for freedom against the evil empire. This time they're the Tionghoa, which is, if you know your Indonesian terminology, that simply means Chinese, the Chinese empire. But if you really, I don't want to spoil too much. If you want to read a good review, you can check it up in Upstream Reviews. It's just look about review the Santara commentaries, book one, The Padre, by Brian Hemming. So shout out to him. If you happen to watch this, you know, that's all there is to it. So let's move on. Um, well, I guess this isn't a book so much, but this is my other book. So yeah, or more self promotion. This is my very first book. It's called Inquisitor's Promise. So the Santara commentaries is more of what you call fantasy. There is more sci-fi, space opera. I would show you the physical copy, but I actually don't have it with me. I actually donated one of them. Like I'm in my like brother's house. I mean, he has one in his basement, but he kind of, I don't want to take it there. It's like that's his copy. So you know, take a look at my books. Oh, by the way, this is actually on discount, like $2.99 or $1.99. So they have an epic book sale, So you can go check it out. All right, knocking out that off. What's next? There's another sci-fi book, but that one was space op. I mean, that's the same thing. This is Voyage to Alpha Centauri by Michael D. O'Brien. And I don't want to. I am not exaggerating. This book changed my life. Um, this is I consider it actually my favorite fiction book. This is like book of fiction. Anything that I know of, this is my favorite works of fiction. I am not joking. I am not exaggerating. So why? Um, this is if you don't know much about Michael D. O'Brien, he's a Canadian author, like very Catholic. He doesn't usually write science fiction. Now, I haven't actually read his other books. I think he has this like Father Elijah. So he's very philosophical. He gets really into like the characters. Um and usually I'm not a big fan of like a hard sci-fi books, which this is actually is. It's so what you call the premise is that this is like 80 years in the future. Basically, there's this ship called the Cosmos. So they're going to Alpha Centauri from Earth, right? And our hero is a guy named Neil De Hoyos, and he's like a scientist kind of guy. He is a scientist, right? And so he met all these people, all the men and women in there, a lot of scientists, a lot of normal people. And at some point, he kind of realized that, well, let me get back. Because Earth 80 years in the future is kind of a dystopia. It's like kind of like a mix of Brave New World mixed with 1984, which is the best way I can put it. So it's not a very happy place. So a lot of them, they take this ship, the Cosmos, they want to get away from like Earth, right? It's like the Puritans, they want to get away from England. Think about it like that, you just, um, but then they realize that the all the bad things from Earth, all the authoritarian, all the evil stuff going on, it's in this ship too, because you can't just get away from the evil hearts of men by like going off to a spaceship. They'll follow you. It'll follow you to Alpha Centauri. And I don't want to spoil anything more because it's the reason I actually really love it is actually right around the end. There's an interesting twist to it, which I don't want to give away because maybe at some point I might give it away because I don't really believe in spoilers anymore, which is kind of complicated. But I want you to like experience this for yourself. It's mm, is a really great book. It's like I usually don't like hard sci-fi. It's boring, but it's because it's more about the people, like the people in the ship, and then eventually they did get to Alpha Centauri, and there's like a more of a the evil of the Earth spills over to Alpha Centauri because you just can't get away from like evil by going to a spaceship. But I've rambled long enough. So again, you wanna know my favorite book is this one. Like my favorite fiction book. Non-fiction, that's a little more complicated. But let's move on. Let's see. And then here's this. The Walter Ulrich Files by Jack McLean, which is actually it's a pseudonym, like a pen name. Yeah, his real name is Ian T. Wilson, which is if you if he's actually on Substack, if you just look him up, Ian T. Wilson or Ian Wilson. Um, so yeah, this is his book. I actually got a review copy. It wasn't this one. It's actually I bought this from Amazon. It's a very complicated story. So I got a free copy from the author, and you know what? I like it enough that I want to buy it. Buy the that I bought the physical copy. Now, honestly, I haven't gotten very far, but that's not really a bad thing. So right now I'm in. I just like all the chapters. See, right now I'm in chapter 5, the sign of the snake. There's like 17 chapters counting the prologue. So I'm actually on the 6th chapter. But this is more of a what you call. It's not an urban fantasy because technically this takes place in West Virginia. And as someone who's been to West Virginia, I can guarantee you they don't really have like big cities in West Virginia. Um, let's see. Yeah, so there's like this is more of horror. If you've ever watched Supernatural, I don't really watch that. I've seen like a couple episodes. Like this will be very familiar. So there's like two characters. One is a werewolf kind of guy, and the other is it's not an exorcist. It's more like a monster hunter. It's not a vampire hunter per se, because it's not just vampires, but like a monster hunter. And has a very episodic episodic what you call structure into it, right? So the prologue is kind of like takes place in 1961. So it takes a long time ago. But then you start with the guy's main story. Like it's like called The Night That Changed My Life. So that's when you see the guy himself, which named Walter Ulrich. And then next chapter is like again, it's like an episodic. So it's a kind of book you can pick it up and drop it off. You know, like I haven't gone too far, like I said, but it's not that it's bad. It's like I've been sick and I've been going on vacation. So I want to get back into this. It's not a like it's kind of thick, but it's not actually a very long book because if you see, like the pages is kind of the font is really big. So that's all. So if you're into like the kind of like I don't know, magical realism, I guess that's what they call it. You can take a look at this. Um, the Walter Ehrlich files by Jack McLean. And then let's bring the big one. This is Barren Metal by E. Michael Jones. So we're going into nonfiction territory, though I did talk about Kobe Bryant's book. Technically, that's nonfiction too, but so this is a big one. This is a big one. I remember I did talk about it in my nonfiction blog in Indonesian and American. So this is a book about economics, and I know a lot of people think, well, economics is really boring. It's called the dismal science for a good reason. All right, when people talk about economics, people usually go to sleep. I'm not one of them because I actually like economics because my dad has a PhD in economics. My brother deals in finance. Even my younger brother is kind of a computer geek. But I'm not getting to the point is that I kind of enjoy talking about economics, and a lot of people don't like philosophy. I can like talking about philosophy, economics. For my understanding, the problem isn't economics per se. The problem is terrible economics, crappy economics. I don't want to curse. I already did, but whatever. So it's called Barren Metal: A History of Capitalism as the conflict between labor and usury. Now, a lot of people be like, "What the heck is usury? What the heck is labor?" Right? And it's a very complicated topic. I already said that before. And you know how you know it's a complicated topic because there's like I don't know, there are 1,400 pages. There's 1,400 pages in this tome. And if you open it up a little bit, there's 101 pages. 101 chapters in this book. So usually when we think about economics, where do you start, right? Well, this book starts in the Champi Rebellion of 1378. That's the first chapter. And if you don't know what the Champi Rebellion is, then you're probably in good company, I guess, because most people don't know what the Champion Rebellion is, right? So a lot of economics they start at like Adam Smith, right? But here, Adam Smith is like I don't know, it's like chapter 50. Here, chapter 53. Adam Smith goes to Glasgow. So it starts in Renaissance Italy, Renaissance Florence to begin with. So this is a book about economics, right? But it's more accurate to call it a book about history because it's a history of like how people history of money. Like I'm thinking of like making like analysis of this book, like a chapter by chapter in my like main not my nonfiction Substack, because just look at this. This is a this is a behemoth of a book. I've read this book for like since I got it, and I'm still in like chapter like 19, chapter 15. Like this is a big book, and it's not the kind of book you can get on Amazon because he's kind of a controversial character to say the least, which I won't get into because a lot of them is like people are just slandering him, to be honest. So don't read what people don't believe what don't believe everything you see on the internet, right? So don't believe everything and the internet says about somebody. If you want to know about somebody, just look him up. You know. But yeah, that's all the physical books. And what's next is is it is my MacBook Air, which I got in America because in Indonesia things are much more expensive. And why do I bring a laptop? Because there's this thing called ebooks, right? I did show off my Kindle, but it's kind of crazy because I actually have a folder for ebooks, and there's a lot of them. Like I'm taking like I'm studying like Indonesian law, and like I put it all here in my computer because you know where do I put it? Because right now I'm in America. I have a lot of magazines, a lot of like, people talk about Kindle, right? Like Amazon Kindle scandal, which I won't really get into too much, but basically, you can't really like transfer your Kindle files through like USB anymore, so you have to do it online. So basically, it's like Amazon. You're not really owning your Kindle books, like Amazon owns your Kindle books, which honestly they are. Like maybe not. I don't know legally, but for all intents and purposes, they kind of are. So so what you want is want to have a PDF file. You want to have an EPUB file. A lot of people have this debate, right? What's more important? What you call I mean, what's the difference between like print books and ebooks, right? And there is a difference, to be honest. Like print, like ebooks, you kind of need to get used to it. And when you use like when you use when you read like books in printed version, there is a difference. You got to feel it, but it doesn't mean that ebooks are useless. I think because like people will talk about how great printed books are until you have to move out. And I learned this when I moved out from Maryland. Right, I used to live in Maryland, like in America. Then I moved to Indonesia, and then I have tons of physical books. What do I do with it? I have to give them away, including an atlas. It kind of sucks, but you really have to. When you have to move away, like, oh, you gotta have your printed books. And what happens when you move out? It's a pain in the butt. You have to give it away. And so that's why ebooks are important. Um, and a lot of the things I read it like physically. And then there's audiobooks, so which I really won't get into because some people ask, like, is audiobooks real books? But like, I'm not gonna get into. So that's all the books I have. So let's summarize, right? Like, because what's the name of this stream, right? Books for Men, What books if you're a man, like a lot of books you see in Barnes and Noble, it's very quickly. It's like, is this isn't for me, you know, to put it lightly. It's like sometimes there are books for you, but it's like more like porno, like pornographic. It's like it was like harem novels. Like I don't really want to get into. It's like so it's either like books for women or books for like horny men. You know, usually when people say there are no books for men, it's usually there are no books for like normal men. But I don't really want to. Again, like I said, I'm just showcasing the books I have, which if you are a man, I'm sure you might like. So let's go back into that. First is this Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality. You know, if you really want to take on the world, R.I.P. Kobe. And it's a photo book. So it's not really a hard read at all. You can finish it in like a day. But why why keep it? Because it's the kind of book you can leave like on a dining table and people will talk about it. It's like, hey, it's Kobe. Everyone knows who Kobe is. Not as much as Michael Jordan, but it's Kobe Bryant. Um, and then is my books. I know, like what you call self promotion. Yeah, sure, but it's a easy read. Like I think there's a good review. It's a fantasy novel. And again, it's not about it's it's an adventure story. I'm sure if you're looking for a book for like young boys, you might like it. And I know I'm the author, so it's take what I say with a grain of salt. And then there's Voyage to Alpha Centauri. Like I said, this book changed my life. Like if it's not the kind of book you can just dig into. You have to buckle down a little bit, but it took me a while to be honest. It actually took me like a few chapters in, like maybe like a few until I like, wow, I really want to know what's going on, and I just can't stop. I can't stop like turning the pages. Finally, and not finally, then there's this, the Walter Ulrich Files by as says Jack McLean, but it's like Ian Wilson, Ian T. Wilson. Just look him up on Substack. It's a very it's an episodic kind of novel, so you can read it and then you take a break, you read it, take a break. So far, I'm enjoying this. And finally, this book. This is the book where this is currently my personal project of sorts. I want to read through it. I want to I want to go through this little by little and I want to summarize each of the chapters in my Substack. But it's like, because this is the book where like a lot of people need to understand because people just don't understand economics. But economics is like basically kind of your life. And that's why the world, to an extent, the world is screwed up because people don't understand economics. We're kind of like fooled with like, oh, capitalism, oh, communism. There's this false dichotomy, and nobody knows what they're talking about. So you gotta understand your history, right? And again, like again, I know it's a computer, but if you ebooks are very important. Like I know a lot of people like don't like technology, like oh you have to read on paper, blah blah blah, and I'm like I can understand that, but I feel I've read a lot of things through PDF. Maybe it's an acquired taste, but it works. You do get the knowledge, and it's not like if you read through ebooks you're gonna be stupid compared to when you read physically. I mean, audiobooks is a different story, but that's all. That's all the quote unquote books for men that I have for all of you. So I'm gonna like when I post this in my Substack, I'm gonna link all the books that I got. I'm hoping to bring all these books back home because right now I'm in America. This is my last week in Chicago in America right now. Going home to Indonesia next week, and hopefully I can get these books. Not hopefully. yeah, I'm gonna bring these back home, and I hope I can read it again or finish it. If I haven't finished it, and that's all there is to it. Thank you for all of you who joined this live stream. I hope you enjoyed, all the books I've showed, all the showcases. And what else is there to it? Well, it's like 12:37 where I am right now, almost 1 o'clock, and I haven't eaten lunch right now, so I'm really starving. So I'll be logging off. So Germanicus signing off.